We need the red one. Is anyone advising the director? I've lost him. There you are. Walk with me. Camera will be ready in 3 minutes, and we need confirmation on a tablecloth. Your lead actress is freaking out.
Well, thank God you're here. I'm absolutely freaking out.
What else is needed?
I need that 2K.
Are we almost ready?
Don't I look ready?
Right.
You actually look worried.
I'm worried I can't get a stinger.
Stinger.
Now I'm not worried.
Director and first team to set. Pictures up.
I'll take this one.
Moving, Dolly. Can I get a red one?
Okay, quiet on set, please. This is for picture. Roll sound. Roll camera.
Rolling.
Mark it.
This C12, take one.
Camera is set.
And action.
Şu anda New York Film Akademi'nin Los Angeles şubesindeyiz. Yanımda oyunculuk eğitimi alan Deniz Kara var. Merhaba Deniz.
Merhaba.
Bize biraz aldığın eğitimden bahseder misin?
Tabii ki ben burada Bachelor of Fine Arts 3 senelik programdayım. Oyunculuk öğreniyorum. 1,5 senem bitti sayılır. 1,5 senem daha kaldı. İlk senemiz çoğunlukla oyunculuk yapmakla geçti. İşte teknikleri öğrenerek, film çekerek. Şimdi ikinci sene daha çok derslere ağırlık yani. Ders çalışmakla geçiyor.
Peki hangi teknikte mesela oyunculuk öğreniyorsun?
Bizim okul çoğunlukla Meisner öğretiyor. Meisner özel derslerimiz var çünkü. Bir sene mesela Meisner gördüm. Diğer teknikleri de Stanislavski, Selahatler. Onları kısaca anlatıyor ama Meisner'e göre yani onun özel dersi var okulumuzda.
Peki kamera tekniği bilgisi de alıyorsunuz?
Aynen. Onun da özel bir dersi var işte. Gözlerini kırpmama dersi, işte pozisyonların, işte her şeyi öğreniyoruz. Yani bir sene boyunca onu da öğrendim.
Peki oyunculuk yapmak dışında senaryo yazmak veya yönetmenlik yapmak gibi bir merakın veya bu konuda bir öğrenim çalışmanız var mı?
Var. Şu anda oyunculara göre hani oyuncular nasıl hikaye yazar gibi dersimiz var. Hani bize özel öğretiyorlar onu. Öğreniyorum ve çok ilginç yani hiç düşünmediğin fikirler geliyor aklına. Ona ağırlık vereceğim ben de ileride hani kendi hikayemi yazıp kendim oynayabilirim.
So you take care of admissions and events here. Can you please tell us about, well, firstly, admissions? I mean, how do students come here and how do you help them, you know?
Sure, yeah, we guide new students through the admissions process, which is, it's fairly simple, but there are different requirements for different programs. We have students from all over the world. We're 50% international, which is great, so we have a very diverse student body and population. And then we, of course, have both the sort of conservatory workshop type programs, as well as the bachelor's, the master's, the BFA, MFA, and AFA programs. So we have accredited programs here at the Los Angeles campus as well. So we're dealing with lots of different programs and different requirements for each, but it's a fairly simple process.
How many different courses do you have?
Well, we have a filmmaking program, an acting for film program. We also have 3D animation. We have photography, screenwriting, producing, and the list goes on. And we've been adding programs slowly but surely as our school has grown very fast in the last few years, especially after we became an accredited school. So.
And you have short courses as well as?
Absolutely, yeah. We're really, we're a workshop school as well as a college. So we have lots of different programs, anything from a 1-week program up to, an MFA degree or master's degree.
Fabulous. And you also take care of events here. Can you tell us about your events?
Yes. So we have guest speakers at Warner Brothers Studios is where we usually have the actual the guest speaker series. And this is a very interesting and fun thing for the students to be able to do. They get to go inside Warner Brothers Studios and see, very sort of cultivated and experienced people from the film industry come into watch screenings of different films or projects that they've worked on, and then we do a Q&A afterwards. And we've had some really great speakers. We've had Juliette Lewis, the actress, Steven Spielberg. Last night we had Josh Brolin, who was absolutely wonderful. And these are really informative and good for the students because they kind of get to see how, experienced individuals from the industry talk about their kind of personal experience. They tend to open up and be warm and it's great for the students.
So can you please tell us how a student comes to study here? What are the requirements?
Sure. It would depend upon ultimately what they want to do with their career. If they're interested in finding out if this is something they're interested in and they're good at, we have short-term programs available. If they've already convinced themselves that this is something they want to do with a career, we have long-term programs available as well. All our programs require at least a high school diploma, and then from there, depending upon which program they're interested in, they all have different recommendations and different processes that we have to go through.
And do you do a screening process, or do you audition people,
Yes.
say, for acting, the acting courses?
Yes, sometimes all the students will do an audition once they arrive here for placement. We do actually go on the road as well too, and we'll audition students and usually have them prepare a monologue and then give them feedback, and then a redirect, and then see how well they take direction.
Fabulous. And what about the technical courses? Do you have any kind of screening or any kind of requirements for the more technical courses you have?
We do. We require a creative portfolio. Now, for filmmakers or directors of photography, otherwise known as cinematographers, we do require some work from them. These can be short stories, scripts, screenplays that they've written in the past, even photography or poetry. We just kind of want to get a good impression of where they're at creatively right now.
And you have a lot of foreign students. So how do you assist them? Is it with the visa process? How does that work?
Yes, we actually have an international department that will fully help them through the entire process from conception all the way to completion, and then possibly working with an OPT, which is an optional practical training after they've completed their course, which would allow them to work in the U.S. for up to 1 year in the given field.
So tell us about the film program. What different kind of courses do you have here?
In the film program here at New York Film Academy, we basically deal with all the different aspects, the major aspects of the filmmaking process. So directing, producing, writing, editing, camera, sound, and then it goes into some of the smaller, we have a few classes in production design and things like that, but it covers most of the basic areas. The film program is based around directing mostly, but then there's also the classes in those other areas so they can learn how to speak the language of the different departments.
And screenwriting as well?
Yes, screenwriting as well. There are classes in writing a feature screenplay, classes in writing short screenplays for their thesis projects, and then classes just in the general craft of screenwriting itself. It's one of the great things that we can provide is an all-day production workshop where they work with their instructors out on the Universal backlot, whether it's the New York scene or the Europe scene or Mexico or wherever it is. It provides that sort of, they can see where other films have made, have been made before on those backlot sound stages, and then build them into their own works. So that's on Universal. One of the great things of being so close to Universal and Warner Brothers is that we have the backlot experience on Universal, and then we also work a lot of times with having screenings at Warner Brothers, so they get to sit in the same screening room where people in the past also have screened their films, Warner Brothers films, and they're beautiful. So they get to have that with their friends and family at the end of the program.
We're trying to enrich the quality of the students' stories. And so that stories are not just about sound and fury, but they must signify something. So that's my goal. And oftentimes what I try and do is get students to not try and become Quentin Tarantino or copy someone else, Christopher Nolan. I'm trying to get them to look at their own lives and see what stories do they carry around inside them.
And tell an original story.
Exactly. And once you do that, what's ironic is that what is personal can sometimes become universal. It's just a simple story about a relationship between you and your father. Now, some people may not want to do that. They want to do something that they think is cool or clever, but oftentimes that's just a cliche. It's empty. But when you find stories that are within you, they have enormous power. Stories that are about action and all that, it's all about force. And they're hollow. And oftentimes, younger people have more of an attraction to do that. But we say, well, how are you going to stand out? How are you going to become an artist? And an artist has something to say. And so that you're not just copying.
Unless you want to work on Michael Bay films and just blow stuff up and look really
good. Blow stuff up. And, and even he made a movie recently which failed miserably because he didn't have, in my opinion, the strong foundation in storytelling. So there's people, it's almost like, my analogy is like Wizard of Oz. And if you see the movie Wizard of Oz, there's this huge projection of the Wizard of Oz, and Toto goes over to a curtain and pulls back the curtain, and we see that he's a tiny little man, but he's projecting this large image and he says, ignore the man behind the curtain. So that oftentimes, stories are this extravaganza. They're trying to hide the fact there's nothing there. There's no one there. And so that temptation for a lot of filmmakers is to create something with action, sound and fury, to hide the fact they've got nothing to say. But people, they feel it, they know it. And so that's, if you can tell something that's simple and truthful, that's where the power comes from. Journey you have to make is from your ego to your heart. And that's the journey people don't want to make. They want to make things that are cool, clever, or cute. And, I had a very famous acting mentor named Larry Moss, and he coaches people like Leonardo DiCaprio and Hilary Swank for her Academy Awards. And he said that, that cool is the death of art, because cool is about being emotionally cut off or being distant. And when you go down that road, when you try and be cool, you're not being an artist, because an artist, you're showing what you don't want to reveal, what you're afraid to reveal, your humanity, your vulnerability, the things you're ashamed of. But if you're able to use that in your work, you give an enormous gift to people. And it's the opposite of cool. So that's what I'm always trying to encourage people to do is if they come here, oftentimes write work that's set in their home country. Even though you're learning great tools here, or if we come to your country and we help you, that don't think you need to come to Hollywood per se to make movies in Hollywood. You can come here to learn, but I love when people tell stories about their own countries. Like anything about Turkey. Turkey has such an amazing history, and there's so many stories that are just waiting to be told if people have the courage.